Hello, everyone. Welcome back to Behind Closed Deals. Today, I have the pleasure of being with Latrice. Latrice is one of our EXP agents here in Ontario. And we are going to have the opportunity to learn about Latrice and her business and how she came about to be such a phenomenal real estate agent. You're going to be one of our speakers at EXPCon Canada, and I'm so excited for that. And Latrice, yeah, it's going to be an amazing event. So welcome, Latrice.
Thank you. Thank you for having me. I'm so happy to and honored to be on the podcast. I've seen some of the episodes and I love what you're doing. So thank you for inviting me on.
Thank you. I appreciate it. One of the things about this podcast is, we always look at how real estate is perceived. No one knows really the dive in. No one's really dived in to see, how much work it takes to be in the real estate industry and how difficult and challenging some of the real estate deals can be, but also how hard it is to escalate your level of performance and to always be prospecting and looking for a new business, because every day is an absolutely new day. You're starting out completely brand new every single day. So Latrice, how is it that it came about that you chose real estate as a profession?
So I think it kind of started when I was younger. My family, we moved around a lot when I was younger, and I kind of always longed for the stability. And I've had this passion about real estate I loved homes and I loved interior design. And, me and my mom would drive around and look at houses. And when I was thinking about, what do I want to do and what kind of career do I want and how do I mesh all of those things together, it was just a no-brainer of real estate where I can impact people's lives and I can still be passionate about what I'm doing every day.
Absolutely. Was it a scary feeling for you to choose real estate? Because it's not like you're waking up and there's a boss that's going to tell you you're working 9 to 5. It's not like you're, finishing real estate school, Humber College, and you've got a list of 10 people that are waiting to buy and sell real estate. How was it for you?
For me, it was terrifying. Moment of transparency. I started to do my real estate license. I was a single mom of 2 daughters. And I started to do my real estate license while working 2 jobs and taking care of my kids. And it was just too overwhelming. And then I had the fear of okay, you're going to do this, but you have 2 people who are depending on you and this has to work. So I put it on the back burner, just continued to work at my 2 jobs and take care of my kids. And then when I met my husband, my life felt a little bit lighter and I had the opportunity to focus on what I really wanted to do. And when I saw that opportunity, I took it and ran, and I was like, okay, I can do this, but I was still really terrified. Yeah. But I did have a great support system and my husband behind me that was like, if this is your goal, if this is what you want to do, go for it.
And it makes such a big difference, the support circle that you have around you, right?
1,000%.
Either they can lift you up or really drag you down. And, you're very fortunate to have had that. You're obviously made for this career. So congratulations on that. What sets your approach differently than from others? Why do you think clients want to work with you?
I think it's really just me being my authentic self when I meet clients. And I've had this conversation kind of with many realtors where they're like, what are you doing differently? And I always say to them, I believe there's not one way to do real estate. I think there's so many great realtors because they just do it how they feel they should run their business. Whereas door knocking can work for someone else and it doesn't work for me. So there's not one way to do it. So when I go into a listing appointment or I go into a buyer consultation, it's more of I'm relating to that person and we're having a conversation as opposed to this is a transaction, let's get it done. And I think that's why my clients continue to refer me and come back, because we essentially become friends and acquaintances. And the experience I give them is much more personal than just you're another client of mine or another transaction.
Absolutely. And then obviously your follow-up method is really good with clients, keeping in touch with them so that they continue to refer you business all the time. Can you share a particular challenging event or moment that you've had in real estate?
oh gosh, every day.
Every day is a new challenge.
Yeah, particularly, I think it would have been when I started. I've been a realtor now for 7 years.
Yeah.
And I think the biggest challenge I had was getting out of my own way. When I, first started, there was so many like fears that I had, and kind of like not talking to myself in the right mindset, as if I didn't belong in the room. And once I got over that fear and I had the confidence in myself, and I was like, you've come this far. This is what you want to do. You're definitely made for this. And when I got over that hurdle and I was able to take the actual career by storm, that's when I saw, the momentum and the clients and the awards and the allocates and all of that coming, because I finally was like, get out of your own way. I think that was my biggest challenge.
So pause there for a second. What do you like? What would be the reason an agent would feel like, or an individual would feel like, I don't belong in this room?
Personally, for myself, I started, at the time, my real estate was male dominated. I think the numbers are kind of getting more even.
Yes.
And I felt like I wasn't taken seriously because I was a young Black woman coming into the industry that really looked a lot different before I got there. Like when I didn't know a lot of Black agents or Black female agents when I became a realtor.
Right.
So a lot of the people I was going to for help or support or resources in the industry, A, didn't look at me, and B, didn't have the same challenges as me. So they also didn't know how to support me.
Right.
And that was no fault to their own. It was just, that was the reality of the situation. And that was one of the big reasons that me and my business partner, Sasha, started the Modern Agent Academy, mostly just for women, because I see so many women coming into the industry now, like powerhouses, forces that are taking the industry by storm. Yeah. And it like makes me so excited.
Me too. I'm so happy about it. Yeah.
But there is a lack of support there. Real estate really has this competitive stigma. So we started that to be like, no, we can all sit at this table, and let alone can we not all sit at this table? Let's build the building and let's do it together. Absolutely. And I have so many women that come join me with EXP for that reason, because they're looking for that support when they get into real estate.
Absolutely. And they're always looking for that kind of support. How has it evolved? How have you seen it evolve from when you first started to now?
1,000%. I see a lot more women in the industry. I've seen, the technology has changed in the last decade. And like a business, or the business model of our brokerage, which is amazing. Yeah. Things like that are, changing the real estate industry. And COVID, that was like a whole other thing that was crazy, and projected it into a different way. But I'm definitely seeing a lot more females in the industry. I'm seeing a lot more females at the top, let's say, that are paving the way, or or the trailblazers for other women coming into the industry and being like, this is doable. You can be a mom or not be a mom and still be a successful realtor.
And that's what I share the same point as you. Is the way I've seen it evolve is that there are more women in leadership when it comes to our field. We can speak to our field, and it really gives that confidence level, not just for females, but for males as well. Mm-hmm. As we struggle in our day-to-day, maybe we're more vocal with it. However, the males in the industry struggle the same way every single day. However, they're not as vocal as we are. And finding that support, it's more looked at as, there is someone in that role that is got the skill set, has the knowledge base, can lead the company or can lead the pack. However, I still look at them as that nurturing partner that I can go to, and makes the conversation a lot more smoother for them to open up.
Exactly.
That's my take on it, of just seeing women in leadership. Yeah. What advice would you give someone considering a career in real estate, but especially women?
Go for it. Go for it. Like when I got my real estate license and, my career started to take off, it's changed not only my life, but my family's life. And I've been able to impact so many people in my community. So it's really rewarding. But I would say when you get into the industry and you've decided this is what you want to do, find your tribe of people that, can be a support and a resource for you. And don't make the mistake like me to kind of get in your own way, take yourself very seriously, and know that you belong in the room. you do belong here. You're going to be a great realtor. It's not easy by any means. And some days you're going to be like, maybe I made the wrong decision, but it's so rewarding, and I wouldn't have picked a better career for myself.
That's amazing. Going back to your first, second year in real estate, what would you have done differently that would have probably impacted your career in many different good ways?
That's a great question. Actually never thought of that, but the immediate thing that comes to mind is coaching. So for me, it was you're coming into an industry that you go to Humber and you read all the books and you kind of understand what it is to be a realtor, but you don't know what it is to run a business, right? So a lot of people get in and they're like me at the beginning. I think I know what I'm doing, but there's definitely a much more efficient way to do this. And don't be afraid to ask for help. Like I was like, oh, maybe I don't need a coach. I can figure this out. But when I started to get that support and that accountability from someone else, and like, this is how you smoothly run your systems, and, use this technology and use this CRM, and this is how you should be doing it, and make sure you follow up. My career was like much more smoother. And I wish I would have done that from day one.
I completely agree with you. There's a lot of things that I would have changed when I first got into real estate, especially my first and second year. And that has to be, if I had a coach or I had a mentor, I would have probably not done the mistakes that I did, which is follow up with my clients after the deal's closed. Didn't really, as you get busier, you start to forget to do things. And if you don't keep in touch, these clients are not coming back to you because you're not building that community that you long for in your clientele, in your real estate career. So that's something I would have definitely changed. And keeping up with the education every single year. That is so important. Like, maybe people's perception is that, we get our real estate license, but we don't have to continuously educate ourselves, but education is every single day. And not just in real estate. We're learning about mortgages. We're learning about home inspections. We're learning about so many different aspects
of changes, like new rules, rates. It's
all
thrown at us.
Everything is thrown out at us. What do you think is the most rewarding aspect of being a real estate agent?
For myself, I had an experience, and that experience kind of changed the way that I looked at not only what I was doing, but my brand, because I realized how impactful my brand and my business was to my community. Mm-hmm. So I bought my first property in Churchill Meadows in Mississauga, and I really, really wanted to get into that community and let that be like my area. Mm-hmm. And I finally got a listing on Eglinton, and I was so excited. And so I had my sign up and my face is on it. And I was busy. I missed the phone. And so I checked my voicemail, and it's a college student. And she's like, you don't know me. I don't need to buy or sell, but I just walked past your sign, and I want to let you know how motivating and inspiring it is for me to see you on the sign, because I don't see that in this neighborhood. And I instantly burst into tears.
I'm about to burst into tears. That is so amazing.
It was so amazing. And I listened to that voicemail I would wake up in the morning and be part of instead of before I do my affirmations, I would listen to it, because it was just so inspiring that she was like that touched that, I see a woman in my community who's doing
great things,
something so great. And I realized that not only was I a realtor, but I was a role model. Yes. Right. And that's when I started doing, more stuff with the youth and in the community, and financial literacy for teenagers and even young adults who don't know. Like, especially in my community, the conversation about, buying property and credit and finances is not something that was talked about so much. So now that I'm changing the narrative of the conversation, and I'm seeing the impact on my community, and I'm seeing parents help their children buy homes, and I'm seeing first-time home buyers come into the market for making the right decisions, and I'm like, this is just so beautiful.
That's amazing. So what is it that you do? You hold sessions?
So
knowledge.
So I have a mortgage broker that I work with,
right?
And her and I were doing seminars for first-time home buyers. And just on financial literacy and how you can, if you're not ready right now, but prepare yourself.
Right.
And then we took it a step further to offer that to people, like just a consultation, let's call it. So if someone would rather not be on a Zoom with 6 other people, they can come in the Zoom privately with us and be like, here's my situation. or this is how much debt I have, or like, what should I do with this settlement of money or something that I got? And we're having the conversations with people in the community, and they're coming back to us. So they're not always ready, right? But then they're coming back. I actually just sold. We did that for a mother and a daughter. They purchased, and then I just sold the property because they then came back and were like, you know, you helped us get this far, and now they're separating and moving on. But like, in doing that, we're seeing people like learn a different aspect of something that they had no idea that they could do that.
And we know, I mean, you have kids, they're in school. We know that financial literacy is, I mean, if there's one thing that they could teach our kids is how to handle money.
Yeah.
And I would love for them to incorporate some kind of a class in high school or grade school on how to financially be responsible and how to manage your money. And we don't have that. And unfortunately, you know, it puts together a group of individuals that go into the workforce, but have absolutely no idea on their savings, how to save for a down payment, how to purchase a property, and what to do with it. And they're young professionals, and it's really sad to see. So I love the idea that you're putting that out there to the public. Now, do you do that in community centers, libraries? Do you hold open information about it?
I'd love to do it in person. It's just been easier for us to do it over Zoom. And we actually started doing it during COVID as a way to like get in front of people and, you know, still be involved in the community when everyone was in their bubbles. And then it just continued to roll that way, or it's just easier for people who are available to hop on Zoom. But I love the idea of doing it in person and making it an actual event where people can then also to network with each other and like, you know, have the same relatable situations where they can then impact each other and be like, well, this is what I'm going to do. And this is what has worked for me, and maybe it can work for you.
And somehow incorporating that this is what you guys can do for your children right now, so that they can find, you know, it waiting for them as soon as they're done or they start a job and so forth. So I think education when it comes to the financial side is really lacking when it comes to our teens. And, you know, it's great that, you know, we're responsible enough to be able to teach our kids, but I see kids, I mean, not kids, young adults graduating, and it's, what do we do with our money? We have absolutely no idea. Can you share some strategies for realtors that are looking, some winning strategies on marketing and just how you get your name out there in the community?
Yeah, so I'm really big on social media. I use a lot of social media marketing. And more recently, I've been really trying to transition it. Not so much I'm just like posting, let's say like a sold or whatever, or some interesting facts. I'm actually changing it more into like a brand. So I've recently been doing some videos and stuff where you'll see me in the community, which was really cool because I just stopped a few people on the street and asked them some questions, and they were nice enough to answer. It turned out really well because I was then able to have real life experience. Right. People saying like, and if some people were renters, some people were owners. I asked them how they felt about the Toronto real estate market right now, and the feedback I got on that video was really good.
That's amazing.
Yeah, and I'll definitely be doing that again because it was a lot of them. But I use social media marketing a lot. I also like to stay in touch with my clients, you know, and the people that they refer. And then I'll do other things where I'm like sending flowers and just staying top of mind, right? So,
what would be the system that you would use as a follow-up after the transaction closed? So your follow-up system, staying in touch, what would be the systems that you would use?
So I do anniversaries. So if it's a couple, if I know their anniversary, I just put it in my CRM, but I also do birthday anniversaries, house buying anniversaries. If I know one of my clients is a mom, they get a newsletter on Mother's Day.
Oh, I love that.
Yeah, like small things like that. When we're doing the consultation, it's very in depth. Like that's why I was saying that we actually become acquaintances, because I ask a lot of personal questions. Because I want to get to know you. Right? I want to get to know you. I want to know what's important to you. I want to know like who you are, because we're working together. And so I'm going through all that, and there's normally a checklist that I use, and then I'll take that back to my CRM later and input that all in. So it's very easy for my system to just follow up later, but the client's like, wow, you remembered my birthday, or you remembered that I had 2 kids. And I was like, yeah.
I think that's amazing because you're building the relationship right from the beginning. You're not waiting to build it as you go along. Like you're really working hard right at the beginning to have that strong bond between yourself and the client. And then now you're working together and just makes it stronger and stronger. And then you're using the CRM system to be able to follow up with them. Yeah. Have you, this is an interesting question. Have you faced any gender-related challenges in your career? And if so, how have you overcome them?
I have. Not in the when I first started, it was a lot of, how do I say this? I felt like I had to kind of not dull myself down, but like, it was like, well, maybe I shouldn't wear this dress, or maybe I shouldn't have the blazer that comes down a little bit further, because I wanted to be taken seriously. And then there was also like inappropriate comments and things that were happening from men in the real estate industry that were making me uncomfortable. Mm-hmm. And when I became more confident in me being a realtor, and my business started to grow, and I was really confident in who I was like, I'm going to wear whatever I want. Yeah, I'm going to dress however I want. I'm going to do my hair however I want, because I'm a really good realtor. So despite how, if my dress is touching my ankles or it's touching my kneecaps, I'm still a really good realtor. And I had, so those were the things that I was facing. And then, I also kind of like the competitiveness. Like I find like men are maybe just a little bit more competitive. Like if I get the listing and that gentleman doesn't, it's like, I haven't do anything too crazy. In that same respect, I do get a lot of respect from the men in real estate, and mainly because I'm on the same team as you. I've built my brand. The results show improve. Yes, absolutely. Right?
You've worked hard. You have.
Exactly. And they respect that, and they respect me as a person, and the conversations are great. So I don't really face a lot of any gender bias or any of that anymore. But definitely when I first got in, it was more so of like me also having to amplify my voice. Yeah. Like not being afraid to speak up. Right?
100%. And it's tough because when you first get into real estate, that confidence level is not there. Like you're just starting out. What you took in Humber is absolutely nothing like what's out there in the real world. So it's building up your knowledge base on how to do the contracts, really working on how to get the clients, closing the deals, making sure the transaction goes smoothly. And as you do more and more, that's when your confidence level is going to go up. Then it's really, when someone is, well, how did you get that? Or how did you do this? And how are you doing this much business? It's because I'm working hard and then being able to achieve the goals that I put in place for myself. Exactly. So, the confidence level really builds up with the level of experience that we have in this business. And that's why I tell new realtors, never give up. Like if you have a goal in mind, you've got to put your goals down. You've got to have something that you're working towards. You can't just wait around for every deal to just fall in your lap, because it's never, ever going to happen.
Right.
Can we talk about some of the initiatives? I know recently you sent me a link to a charity that you support. Can we talk about that a little bit and how that came to be?
Yeah, I love that. Great question. I have 3 daughters. My youngest daughter, her name is Callie, and she will be 5 in November. And 2 weeks after I had her, we got a call from Sick Kids, and they called us in and told us that she had cystic fibrosis. And cystic fibrosis is basically a lung disease. There's been a lot of, it's a lung and digestive disease, but there's been a lot of advances in the medicine.
Right.
And the things that work for her, thank God for us, because it's such a wide scope of how CF can affect any person that has it, because it's 2 genes from both parents, and they can be 2 of any gene. So it's like a wide range.
Right.
Luckily for us, Callie has a more mild case of CF.
Oh, that's amazing.
We do a fundraiser every year, as May is CF Awareness Month. And so this is our 5th one or 6th one, either or. But we do it every year, and then we raise money from now until the end of May. And that was the link that I shared with you. And then we do a walk at the end of May, which is this year going to be May 26th at the Toronto Zoo.
That's amazing.
Yeah, and she loves it. We went last year, and she gets to see the animals, and
oh, that's exciting.
Yeah. So, and we invite everyone to come. Anyone who wants to come walk with us. It's a big group. We spend the day at the zoo. And when I first joined EXP, I joined in March. And I remember sending the same link to the group that I joined with. And then just the support and the donations that I immediately got. I was like, literally like almost in tears because I was like, I just got here. Yeah. Thank you guys so much for supporting me and my family. And then John Tavares set up a walk for the realtors,
That's amazing.
Yeah, and we got up at 5 a.m. in the morning and we went and walked around in support of CF. So I loved that, and that's when I joined the EXP. I was like, this is home. This feels like home.
It's the one thing that stands out all the time to me is the level of support that you get from the community that you're with, and how the agents will come together at, to help each other out no matter what. That's something that I absolutely love. Being a mom and being in real estate, how is that going for you? Would you have chosen a better career?
I love that I have the opportunity and the freedom to be with my kids whenever I want. Like at the drop of a dime, I can be like, this is what's really important right now. So everything else has to go on pause. So I love that freedom that real estate has given me.
Yeah.
But then there are times where trying to balance everything, or, I got home a little bit later and I didn't get to see Callie go to sleep, or Paris and London, both of my other two daughters, they want me to do this and I'm missing it because I'm trying to balance everything. So it can be tough because at the same time, this is my career and I want to be really successful. So finding the balance where, it's family and business, it definitely is a challenge. But I think that we get along just well enough. And then real estate has changed the trajectory of my life and given me opportunities to do things for my kids that I probably otherwise wouldn't have been able to do.
And that's just it. Yes. Yeah. You might be late coming home. You might be early leaving. You might miss something for the kids, but it's also given you that opportunity to be able to give your family something that you wouldn't necessarily have been able to give them had you not been in this career. Exactly. I missed a lot, by the way, when it comes to my kids. However, one of the things that it did provide me is that if one of the kids were sick, I was always able to be beside them.
Exactly.
Not have made that game. I may not have been able to drive you to practice, but if you were sick, you can guarantee that I would always be next to you.
Right.
The one thing that I'm so fortunate, having a career in real estate, is that it gives you that opportunity to be there for your child when they need you the most.
Yeah. And, and the probably one of the most rewarding things about that, when, we have that mom guilt and we feel guilty, is that my daughters openly express how proud of me there.
I love it. And it only gets better. Like, they look up to you. You are their motivation. I mean, you are right now, you're paving the path for them, whether it's real estate or whether it's being an entrepreneur in another field, but you are showing them what hard work really is. And to have, a good life and to have a successful career, you need to do this. It's never going to be handed to you. So, expecting me to expecting me home to be at dinner every single day, it's difficult, but at least I'm fortunate that I was able to show that to my kids as well. They're all successful human beings. I'm very, very proud of them, but it doesn't come easy, and they've seen the hard work, and yours are seeing it as well. And, as they start to grow up, they know what they have waiting for them if they work just as hard as you.
Exactly.
My last question to you is, how do you stay motivated and enthusiastic about your work over the long term? Because it's never easy. There are days I know that we all want to throw in that towel and say,
Anyway, honestly, I'm human, so I'm not always motivated, just like you said. But I feel like for myself, I go through these spurts, and I've seen it since I've been a realtor, where if there's a goal that I'm working towards, or for example, last year I took the kids, the whole family went to Europe for 2 weeks.
Oh, wow.
So yeah, it was amazing, and it was very expensive. So I'm working towards, or there's like a goal that I'm naturally a competitive person. I was an athlete growing up. So when I have that carrot in front of me, I'm easily more motivated. But day to day, it's more so that there's a lifestyle that I want to live. There's things that I want to be able to do for my kids.
I love it.
terms of setting them up and, you know, helping them buy property and just teaching them about real estate. So that is like my daily motivation. That is my why, my kids and my family. But it's really hard, especially in this market right now. For the last little bit, it's been really challenging, I know, for a lot of realtors.
Mhm.
And it's hard to stay motivated when you're so used to the market being one way and then
All of a sudden it turns. Yeah.
yeah.
Especially if you've never been in a down market, right? Like if you've never experienced a down market, for those realtors, this is a very difficult time. If you've gone through it, you know that it's going to change anytime now. However, we're waiting for that anytime now.
Right.
But I truly believe it's having that circle around you. You know, you are staying motivated because of your family, and you also depend on that circle around you of peers that are going to keep you motivated as well. And that, you know, you always have to have that smile because you've got to lift them up and give them that confidence that things are going to turn around. So you've done a remarkable job in that.
Oh, thank you.
Well, thank you, Latrice, so much for being with us today. I know a lot of agents are going to take the information that you've given and listen to this podcast and really find it resourceful and how they can apply it in their day-to-day. And it's always a pleasure to be able to sit with women in leadership like yourself. So we thank you for your leadership and your guidance as well.
Thank you. Likewise. I'm always screaming Nadia, Team Nadia.
I love you. Have a wonderful day, and we'll see you soon. Okay, bye-bye.
Who's calling me?